Service Innovation, Class 6, Understanding Your Environment. What did we cover last week? Well, we actually looked at cars and we looked at the cradle to grave life cycle of them. We looked at life cycle services that are needed to keep your equipment running, and things which come automatically, and then things which you actually have to support the sales and stimulate the sales. We looked at a mining case, and we looked at some blueprinting and some customer journey mapping, and we will do blueprinting and customer journey mapping again. So today's objective is to understand customers and their markets, the competition, understand the installed base, equipment densities, and what can be learnt from the installed base. The installed base is one of our most important resources. Watch the videos, really useful. Customers' markets, customers are different. What can we understand from them? Please bear in mind, just because they've got the same equipment doesn't mean that they're going to use them in the same way. That's really, really important to understand. So we have to move away from that technical understanding of the equipment to what they're actually trying to achieve. So traditionally we might look at sort of by region or by primary use or by fuel, but I want to have a look at what are they trying to achieve. And here I've got a scatter plot showing different owners with the same machines, or 3 machines of the same family, and how they're using them. So we can actually understand what they're doing with it. This is really about outcome-based segmentation. This is very powerful in the service domain. Empathy mapping, personas, very, very powerful tool to help you understand your customers. At very least, understand the job to be done, the pains and the gains. Mining as an example, a little bit quantitative here. I want you to be able to run these numbers and understand that the assumptions don't include all the numbers and that you have to make some up. So basically we end up with a lost production of $2.6 million US. And how do we get to that? There's a spreadsheet there, but you'll see very simply that I run numbers very, very simply and very transparently in a very simple Excel model. So I can actually understand what's going on. Why is the customer screaming at me because one of the trucks is broken down? Well, there's only one truck. If we understand the cost of that breakdown, then we can begin to understand the value that could be created by looking at it in other ways. Competitors. I want to be better than my competitors, but only where it matters for my customers. The USP is utter rubbish. I want to be better for my customers. USP is internal focused. I want to be better for my customers, so I want to deliver things to my customers in a way that they value, and particularly in services is very important. It's not a race just to be better in terms of a technical sense, because if the customer doesn't value it or it has no value for them, there's no point. So here's an example where I've got an importance and an outcome, and I show our company versus a competitor. I should move up to at least 7 because that puts me into a position where I'm in a good point on the line, and significantly better than my customer. But think about how you could adjust your positioning so that you're good enough but not over delivering, because over delivering is basically a cost which the customer has to bear. The conventional way would be to compare features. I really want to compare what we do for our customers. So go back to the pains and the gains and use the value proposition here as a tool to help you understand that, and combine that with Ulrich's approach, and you'll find that you'll move away from the customer wall. Do understand, however, what your competitors do and be very specific. Where are they? What are they doing? Keep a very detailed log of how they compete against you. I don't want hearsay. I want it written down. I want it verified. Installed base, very, very powerful tool. Watch this video from Rockwell. In essence, I want to know the name and equipment serial number of every piece of equipment I've got on my site. or that I've ever sold to a customer, ever serviced for a customer. There's no excuse today to not have that. Setting the database up can be a bit painful, but if you know what it is and you know where it is, you can help them. This was a very simple Google Power Plants Germany. There is no excuse today. Stick your name on it. Put a QR code on it. Put a phone number, but don't change the phone number with a QR code. Don't change the landing page. Find ways to be able to get there, particularly if the OEM is no longer existing. It's pretty obvious why you need to know where the equipment's there, but we want to understand the sales base. We want to understand the spare parts base that we've got out there. We want to understand why we've lost bids. If we've lost bids on new equipment, could we go back and service a competitor's equipment? How do we improve customer experience with the installed base? All good reasons about what we can learn. The data is there, so make sure that you actually use it. It's much more than just CRM. It is not a sales funnel. It is much, much more deep. And it's a way of actually engaging with the customers and understand how they're using it. What can we learn from the installed base? Installed base times utilization times expected spend per year equals expected service sales. So we really understand the market from here. Expected sales, expected spends. We really begin to understand how it works together. And the only thing is our imagination is preventing us from using this. Are they being faithful with us? Are they spending more money than they should be with us? Why are they doing that? Are they not fitting the equipment properly? They're not fitting the spares properly. Can we go and teach them to use it better, to install it better? You also, from understanding the expected spend, you understand when somebody turns up and they say, well, how much does it cost to maintain this piece of equipment? You understand how much it is because you understand the cost drivers. Also allows you then to move to more advanced service models. Think about your firm, the installed base, what you can learn from it. Now then, can you describe your customers and their markets on an outcome-based basis? Can you describe your competitors on a detailed basis that's quantified and qualified? Can you describe the installed base and the equipment densities? Why is it important to have a high equipment density if you want a service centre in that particular location? Can you now understand what can be learnt from the installed base? Remember that the installed base is your platform to create competitive advantage.